Ghost Hunting in New England,
your favorite spooky podcast. Hey everyone, happy Wednesday and welcome to Ghost Hunting in New England with your host Amelia.
and Beth.
Beth, you're home!
I am.
We missed you. How was Ireland?
It was very green.
Okay.
It was Ireland. It was wonderful.
Well, that is great to hear. I'm so glad you had a fun time. And you brought me back some great soap.
I did. I did not find the espresso that you were looking for. I did look. I'm sure there is I drank lots of good espresso, but I just didn't have...
Yeah, I'm sure espresso is really hard to find. Okay, I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
I'm now giving Amelia the finger.
It's a joke.
I mean, I saw like espresso in like the supermarket, but I figured you didn't want Nescafe espresso.
No, I can get that here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Beth was gone. We listened to a lot of EVPs. And we had a really interesting talk with Dr. John.
Yes, that just came out last night and I heard that, and it definitely had a lot of information in it that I had never considered, and I really liked the part where he talked about 2-dimensional versus 3-dimensional people.
I did too. That was my favorite part.
It was easy to understand for a simple layman like myself.
Ditto that.
Yes, so thank you, Dr. John.
Thank you, Dr. John.
And thank you, Mike and Lauren, for filling in for me the week before that.
Yes, thank you, Mike and Lauren. They had a lot of fun doing that.
I'm glad. Did Mike sell that car?
Mike has not sold his car yet, and Lauren's not happy about that. So if anyone's in the market for a 2014 Nissan Altima, reach out to the show. We have one we can get for you.
Well, we're going to need a few more details, like how many miles are on it.
Dunno.
What color is it?
Blue.
It's blue. All right. And you still don't know how many miles are on it?
Nope.
It's all right.
Okay.
I have Ireland ghost stories on the brain today.
Good transition, Beth. I feel like I've done enough talking the past 2 weeks that this week is going to be mostly Beth talking. She brought us home some Irish ghost stories. So what are we going to hear about today, Beth?
So I thought that I would bring 2 of what I thought were the best stories that I found out about while I was there. And they were also 2 places that I was very close to. And one of them I actually visited and the other one I was about to go to. And my husband decided that we would rather go have dinner and we would go back later. But it just didn't happen. They're both from Northern Ireland, which is technically in the UK. So I specifically brought these ones because Amelia keeps talking about the fact that she wants stories from the UK.
I do want stories from the UK. All right. So here we go. Take it away, Beth.
So the first story is from the Dark Hedges. In the early 1800s in County Antrim in Northern Ireland, James Stewart planted a series of beech trees along both sides of the driveway to his new property. He had inherited the land from his father and planned to build a mansion on the property and name it after his new bride, Grace.
It's really nice.
Don't you wish that somebody who had inherited some property wanted to name a place Amelia?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Or a restaurant.
There's a restaurant over in Stoughton, Canton. It's right on the line.
There's one in
Amelia's.
Stoughton. Yeah. There's a bunch called Amelia's.
Oh, okay. Every time I drive by that, I think of you.
Oh.
I think it's an Italian place.
It's a seafood place.
Oh, so you couldn't go there anyway.
No.
And as the trees grew, they intertwined their branches far above the path, creating a stunning tunnel beneath the limbs the travelers would ride through as they approached the new Grace Hall mansion. Many of our listeners have likely seen the Dark Hedges, as they have been featured on a little show called Game of Thrones, where they were used as the setting for the King's Road when Arya escaped King's Landing dressed as a boy. The hedges are now a popular tourist attraction, and motor traffic on the road has been banned as the weight of tour buses and cars have been destroying the roots of the trees there.
Interesting.
So they found out as more and more people were showing up after season 2 that all of this traffic, few of the trees have actually fallen over. So there's a sign that says basically have reason to be there, like keep your car off this road. So everybody parks along the throughway going by it, and it becomes like a traffic nightmare, and people are like darting across the road, and it was a little dangerous. However, while I was there, not a single person I spoke with knew that the hedges are haunted. Everyone thought we were just there because they had been on Game of Thrones.
Quick question. Was this because you were on a Game of Thrones tour?
It absolutely was because I was on a Game of Thrones tour. So the spirit that frequents the hedges is known as the Grey Lady. Now, I want to point out that it's Grey, Grey, not Gray. And do you know what the difference is?
One's a color and one's a name?
No. Grey is how the English spell it, and Gray is how the Americans spell it.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
It's like we don't have a U in color or favorite, but...
Or magic.
No, they don't put a U in magic either. This isn't really like, there's no I in team, like... What did you mean to say?
I can't believe I just said that. No, because I don't know what I meant to say. I'm sorry to our UK listeners. Please write in and correct me and send me a ghost story. Okay, let's go.
The story is the Gray Lady appears beneath the trees at dusk, and she glides along the road towards Grace Hall Mansion. When she gets to the last tree along the hedge, she disappears. She's described as tall and thin with a gray, dressing gown. There are no reports of her attempting to interact with people, simply a woman out for a stroll beneath the trees at dusk. And there are several theories about who the woman was in life. One theory is she was a maid on a nearby farm who was having an affair with James Stewart, and she walks each evening under the trees waiting for him to join her for a stroll. Another theory is that she is Cross Peggy, James Stewart's daughter. There is no explanation for why she is called Cross Peggy, only that her nickname is mentioned in many genealogies. However, she did live to 89 years old, and she never married. Was she never married because she was cross, or was she cross because she was never married? Amelia, your thoughts on that?
Shut the hell up, Beth. Plenty of people don't get married by a certain age, and there's nothing wrong with it. You can look it up online. It's fine.
Anyway, so you were unhappy about the idea that I queried you about whether she was cross because she never married, or she never married because she was cross.
Maybe she just was a little cross, and maybe she worked a lot and just couldn't find the right person.
She was a rich guy's daughter. She didn't work.
You know, I think in my next lifetime, I want to be independent.
I would like to be that at some point in this lifetime. I don't really want to wait. In my next life, I want to be a house cat.
I think that's a step back, karmic-wise.
No.
Okay.
Have you met my cats? My cats have the life. I think it's the first time we've ever mentioned my cats on here. We always talk about Liddy. The last theory is that the spirit is a lost soul from an abandoned graveyard nearby. She's reported to be restless now that her graveyard is abandoned and has become one of the forgotten dead. There's an additional part of the story about other souls and spirits from that same graveyard revisiting the earth on Halloween night and walking with the Gray Lady down the path toward Grace Hall Mansion. As for sightings of the Gray Lady, there was allegedly a picture taken of her in 2015 by a man named Gordon Watson from the nearby town of Ballycastle. Gordon says he was at the dark hedges at dusk one day and taking pictures of trees, and when he got home and looked at his photos, there was an image of a woman in gray flying through the air in front of him. The newspaper articles quoted another well-known photographer who also saw the original images and proclaimed them authentic. I don't know. I've looked at the pictures. I don't have like a fancy degree in photography or anything, but I think that they could be faked.
Did you bring them in for me to look at?
They're on the interwebs.
Okay, put it on our website.
So that's the story of the hedges and the Gray Lady at the hedges.
That's it?
What else do you want?
I don't know. Have there been any recent sightings?
Yes, in 2015, somebody took a picture of her.
Oh, you said that?
You were on your phone.
That was a really provoking story. I really enjoyed it.
Amelia's not going to be allowed to have her phone during her podcast. She can't pay attention to the story that I'm reading in order to get her reaction to it. I don't think she cared about my trip to Ireland.
I really cared about your trip to Ireland. I texted you every day while you were there.
And the fact that I worked so hard to make sure that I brought home stories from the UK.
And you did, and they're great.
All right, so story number 2. Woo! So one of the things that kept happening while I was driving all over Ireland is I was being corrected that I was saying things wrong. So I thought that I was staying at a place called the Culloden, but I was told that no, it's actually the Culloden. And then I thought I was going to a place called Donegal, but I was told it's Donegal. Their syllable rules and their emphasis rules don't make any sense. They don't have any sort of logic to them, and they don't follow any sort of phonics rules for vowels.
I mean, that's fine.
No, it's not.
Think about all the stupid things we say over here.
It doesn't matter. I'm used to those things. I feel like I should be able to like read signs in other places. So, I mean, they're written in English. I mean, everybody was really nice about how they corrected me. But anyway, the point of my story is
let's get to that.
I am probably going to pronounce the name of this house wrong. I'm going to say Prehen. Prehen. The Prehen House. There's a long history of ownership of the Prehen House in Derry, Londonderry. And the short version is that one of the English kings gave the land to the Knox family way back in the 1500s, and generations came and went, and eventually the house is inherited by Andrew Knox, who is the Member of Parliament for Donegal. Apparently he's a pretty important dude. So he built a house on that land in 1740, and this is where our story is going to unfold. Andrew Knox and his heiress wife, Honoria Tompkins,
we have another heiress in here? Wasn't the last ghost an heiress?
The Gray Lady?
Yeah.
Well, she could have been.
Okay.
Nobody's exactly sure who she is. So Andrew Knox and his heiress wife, Honoria Tompkins. And normally I don't give like the full names or anything.
That's a great name though.
That's what I'm saying. Honoria Tompkins.
Honoria.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I mean, it sounds a little bit like gonorrhea, but...
No. Oh my goodness.
But at the same time, honoria just sounds terrific. It also kind of sounds like diarrhea, but I really liked Honoria Tompkins. Amelia's over here like totally face-palmed. Like she just can't believe some of the things.
Okay. All right. Let's get to the story.
Andrew Knox and his heiress wife, Honoria Tompkins, had a daughter, Marianne. And as Marianne grew up, she was admired in town. She was like the it girl. Everybody wanted a piece of Marianne. So she's growing up. She's learning all the stuff that you need to learn when you're an heiress's daughter and you're intending to be the next heiress. And I believe she's an only child. So she's like 15 and everybody's all over her. At the same time, her father, Andrew, has this other friend, John McNaughton, and he's known John since boyhood. The two of them went to school together. They are, just chums. John, at the age of 30, has already inherited and squandered a fortune on gambling. He is just a degenerate gambler. He's a drunkard. He's just like a loser. But he's Andrew's like oldest friend. So when he's in all this debt in Dublin for all this money that he owes people, Andrew's like, come out and stay at my house out in Londonderry here and just kind of lay low. So John moves out to Londonderry, moves into the house, and proceeds to put the moves on Marianne.
Yucky.
I mean, it's the 1700s, so it wouldn't have been that unusual for a 30-year-old man to be going on with a 15-year-old girl. Nobody would have batted an eye at that. The problem was
that it's gross.
He was after her money. The idea that he was going to get her dowry by getting the girl that everybody wanted.
Can I say something?
Of course.
If you were listening to this and you were thinking about dating a woman for her money, you're a jerk. Yeah. I want that out there. I want me recorded saying that.
Also, if you have lots of money, please get in touch with Amelia because she would like to date you as a man. I'm just going to put that on record as the other half of what Amelia's not saying.
That is not true. That is not true at all. Amelia pays all of her own bills. She's a strong, independent woman, but she does not like it when people try to get her to pay their bills.
Does that happen often?
Yeah, people think I have money. I don't. If you're trying to do that and you think I might, I don't.
Well, but you could be an heiress. There could be a secret trust fund.
Definitely not an heiress.
All right, where was I? John McNaughton is all over Marianne. He's meeting with her on the sly and they're carrying on. He convinces Marianne that her father has promised him that the two of them will be married and it's all okay. Where it gets kind of interesting is I can't get a straight answer on whether they actually married or not. But either way, as soon as Andrew and Honoria find out about this ploy, they grab Marianne and they're about to whisk her off to safety.
Okay.
You following me?
Mm-hmm.
She's putting on makeup over there in the middle of our story.
I gotta look good.
It's just me here.
I want to look good for you, Beth.
Thanks.
Okay, whisked off to safety. Okay.
They whisk her off to safety. Marianne gets bundled up in a carriage and she's being moved from Londonderry to a secret hidden safe house in Dublin. Now, John McNaughton hears about this and he's like, well, that's not going to happen. And he hatches his own plan. And his plan is that he and his buddy are going to go and ambush the carriage. They're going to kill Andrew Knox. And John's going to marry Marianne. And now not just get the dowry, but Marianne would be the sole inheritor of the entire estate. So he would get all of Andrew Knox's money. So we got these two different plans going on. And they crash into each other and intersect at this little bridge in Derry. Right?
Is this where the ghost comes in?
I have to give you like the whole story.
I know. You like a good lead up.
I do.
I think it's great.
And I like to know, like, well, why is there a ghost there? Not just that there is one. So anyway, so the carriage gets ambushed. It's not far from the Priyan house. And John comes up and he shoots through the window. And instead of getting Andrew, he kills Marianne.
Oh my goodness.
So his betrothed, his love, the woman he was going to get all the money from is now dying. And so they bring her back to Priyan house and they lay her out on the dining room table. And he's really upset.
Yeah, he just killed a kid.
She's 15. In the 1700s, she's getting to be an old maid. If she had made 20 and she wasn't married, she was done. She was cross Peggy at that point.
Yeah, sensitive subject. All right, keep going.
So as Marianne's laying on the table, John is getting more and more distraught. And of course, the local constabulary shows up and they arrest him and they drag him out of there before Marianne dies. And this is important because now Marianne dies and John is taken off to the gallows. He gets obviously tried and convicted of killing Marianne. They put him on the gallows and they try to hang him, except the rope breaks and there's a big crowd of people around. So pandemonium breaks out and he could have run away and escaped and been okay. But he's like, I don't want to be known as a half-hung man.
I mean, what man wants to be known as a half-hung man?
That's what I'm saying. They put him up on the gallows again. He stays and he go to hang him and the rope breaks the second time. And now it's like, they don't know what to do because there was actually a law on the books that said you could not hang a man 3 times.
That's incredible. I like that. That's like spooky laws. Not spooky, but like tricky laws.
Why would you need that sort of laws?
Because that means like they're not supposed to die. There's a reason for them.
Well, they weren't going to let this guy get away with it. So they passed a new law that said, yes, you can hang a man 3 times.
Oh.
And so they hung him the 3rd time. And this time, thankfully, it took. And so he was hung. So now this guy that didn't want to be known as Half Hung McNaughton, the name stuck. Now we get